Hi, I'm going to make a humpback whale out of clay. So, I don't really know my whales. I had to look it up, but I know this will be a hit when my little students come into the studio. So I've just got a lump of clay, and I always roll it around in my hands to get rid of those excessive bumps and creases, and it smooths it out pretty nicely. So then I'm going to take it, I'm going to V my hands a little bit, go back and forth to extend and slim out the tail part, but I do want to leave the front of it quite bulbous and round and thick. Okay, so far so good. So now I'm going to just smooth out very gently. The idea with earthenware clay is that if you work kind of quickly and don't apply a lot of pressure, you can get your projects made without seeing a lot of cracking. So I'm working kind of quickly, and now I'm going to extend the end here and then just flatten it a tiny bit and cut. Got a needle tool. I'm going to slit the middle of the tail, separate, pat those sharp edges. We don't want any sharp cut edges. We're going to pat those down and make sure that when it's fired, we don't have sharp, dangerous edges. Okay, so that's nice and extended. And then if you're working with earthenware clay and you put something this thick in the kiln, it's likely to blow up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and turn it upside down and hollow it out. I just grabbed a pencil. You can use the handle of any tool. You could use your finger if you want. I have an easier time using something slim and rigid because my finger is likely to rip and separate the clay and cause cracks in the surface. But if you have something slim and strong, you can scoop around in there without disrupting your exterior shape at all. So I love that method. And now it's completely hollowed out. You wouldn't know by looking at the surface of it that it's hollowed out, but it's not going to blow up in my kiln, and that makes me happy. So I'm going to just shape the front a little bit, just give it more of a whale-like narrowness where the front of the face is. And then I'm going to define the mouth with the blade of my needle tool. I'm just going to take it and use that straight line rather than trying to draw a nice even mouth. All you got to do is lay it horizontally and press it against the clay, and that gives you the shape and the line, a nice clean line. So then, okay, I'm just going to use a simple pencil and dot in my eye sockets. Okay, I admit it's looking a little cartoony, but I don't care. It's a whale, and it's going to make little boys happy, little students happy. Okay, so in those eye sockets, I'm going to make super tiny eyeballs, just with a pinch of my fingernail. Roll them out nice and evenly. And those are so small that it would be hard for me to pick them up and get them into the eye socket. So I'm going to take my needle tool, dip it in the water to score and slip it together, and I'm going to poke around in there. And then I'm going to use that needle tool to poke the eyeball and drop it right down in the eye socket. And that's going to keep it attached in there. Getting some of that watered down clay in there, poke it really gently, drop it right in that eye socket. And now the whale has eyes. So I'm not even sure what this fin is called, but I know it's got to be there. So I'm going to take a tiny pinch of clay, roll it around, and then pinch back and forth a tiny bit and attach it to its back. We're going to score and slip that because we always want to score and slip everything that we attach with the wire brush. There we go. And then smooth the one side to make it look like it grew there. We don't want it to look like it was manufactured and just plunked on there. That looks good. And then, again, I have a nice straight line here with the needle tool, but the needle tool seems too short. So I'm going to use a popsicle. I'm going to use this to make those lines that they have underneath them. Not really sure what those ridges are, but I see them in the pictures when I search it. So I'm going to apply them. There we go. Cool. All right, so now we need our little side fins here. Just taking a piece of clay, rolling it back and forth, rounding in any bumpy edges, tapering the one side, leaving the one side broad, and then I'm going to flatten it. And I'm going to make another one. I always, whenever I have to make a pair of anything, I'd make both of them first to make sure that they match size-wise, and then I apply them. Because if the second one doesn't match the first, then I'm going to end up making a third. But those two match pretty well, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to take my wire brush, score and slip it on. And again, we don't want to just place it on there. It looks like it's just been laid there and not really attached. We want this piece, our whale, to look like it grew naturally this way. So I'm going to smooth and erase this attachment. Erase that seam right there. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. It's always good to eye it up from the front, eye it up from the top, and make sure that the placement is even. Okay, and then smooth it on again. Just with a dry, clean finger. If you start wetting your fingers, you're going to leave sticky fingerprints all over. So I always look to make sure that they're lined up from the front and from the top. Okay, and then you just kind of position it the way you want, as if your whale is swimming, or, well, I guess they're always swimming, aren't they? Thanks for watching.